Hi friends, today I've got a bit of a challenge. I'm going to try and bake for the week, but I've only got 2 hours to do it before I need to go and pick up my little boy from his activities. So we'll see what we get done today. I've planned to do some gluten-free quiche, some sourdough quiche, what else? Some little macaroons, some power balls, that's the new recipe I'm trying out, some granola. What else? Maybe a couple of other things, we'll see. I don't know how much I'll get done, but I'm going to take you along with me and show you some of these delicious recipes. I've got my hot tea ready. That's going to be really important to help me keep going. The candle's burning in the background and I've got my favourite apron on. So we're all good for now. I decided this year to try this method of baking 1 week of snacks just once a week. And I'm doing it for a few reasons. The main one being that my boys have food allergies, so I can't really buy them food from the shops. Snacks from the shops are a no-go because one of them is allergic to potato as well as gluten and dairy. So anybody who eats gluten-free knows that a lot of the gluten is replaced by potato starch, so it can be really difficult to find food for them, and especially snacks. And often I will run out of things to give them and they come home from school and they're miserable because they don't have anything fun to eat. So doing it this way once a week, I know that they'll have snacks for the whole week, hopefully things that they'll enjoy. And it takes just some of the pressure off me for the rest of the week. I don't have to think about their snacks anymore. Another reason I do it this way is because I only make a mess of my kitchen once a week, which is always a good thing. I even save on a lot of washing up because if I think in advance about what order I'm going to do things in, I don't even need to wash up this stand mixer in between two batches. So here I'm starting with a gluten-free quiche. That way I know that there's no gluten in the stand mixer. I'm putting in the buckwheat flour, the rice flour, the dairy-free butter. Then once that gets into breadcrumbs, I'll add a bit of cold water and some salt. And then I pop that in the fridge for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then I can get on with the sourdough quiche, the sourdough pastry here. No need to wash the stand mixer in between those two pastries because a little bit of buckwheat flour is only going to add some flavour to the sourdough pastry. And to be honest, you can't even really taste it. So I'm just using the same stand mixer, no washing up in between. And here I am adding the flour, the salt and the butter. And I will add the sourdough starter afterwards, and that will go in the fridge again for 20 to 30 minutes. I find that this pastry rolls out really easily. It's a lot more elastic, I think, than normal pastry, and I really like this recipe. I think I will be making it more often. I replace the water with just the sourdough starter, so I decrease the amount of flour and I replace the water completely with the sourdough starter, and it turns out really, really well. If you are using sourdough because you want to decrease the amount of gluten in the pastry, you'll want to leave this pastry in the fridge overnight so that it can ferment and it'll be a lot easier to digest. I was in a bit of a rush, as you know, so it was just in the fridge for 20 to 30 minutes. If you leave it in the fridge overnight, you'll probably want to take it out of the fridge probably, I would say, about an hour before you want to roll it out, otherwise it will be more difficult to roll. Now we're on to one of my children's favourite snacks. These are egg and bacon muffins, and they really like these. They're really high in protein, very tasty, really easy to eat on the go, and it's a great replacement to cut down on sugary snacks. I always have some of these in the fridge ready for them when they're hungry, when they get home from school. These are based on a recipe that I have on the blog, which is tuna and egg muffins. I'll put the link in the description box below, and also I'll link a video where I made those for a picnic a while ago. This time I'm putting bacon in there instead of tuna, and I'm using peppers instead of courgettes, and they're really tasty. I love adding a bit of onion for extra flavour. So I just fry the bacon and then I add the vegetables straight to the bacon with the bacon fat, no extra fat needed. I let them soften for a few minutes and then I'll make the egg mixture. There's no flour in this, so they're really good for low carb diets and really high in protein. So eggs and salt and pepper. You can add nutmeg if you like, or you can add extra herbs. It's just a really simple, tasty snack that we love eating. You mix the vegetable and bacon mixture to the eggs, and then I put them in these silicone muffin tins. They're a lot easier to remove from these silicone tins. I think in a normal tin you probably need to put either a lot of oil or maybe a muffin case, and they will cook in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for, I would say, about 20 minutes. While they're baking in the oven, I'm going to get started on some sourdough banana bread. My big kids, who don't have any allergies, absolutely love banana bread, so I'm making this for them. That'll bring a smile to their face, and I'm adding a bit of sourdough discard just for extra flavour and a little bit of fermentation. It was really tasty. I'll put the recipe in the description box below. This will bake in the oven for an hour, so I need to hurry up and get it in the oven, otherwise I'm going to be late picking up my little boy. I basically just dump all of the ingredients into the stand mixer and let it mix together. So there are overripe bananas, I think I put 4 in there. I've used raw cane sugar, vanilla extract, eggs, starter, all-purpose flour, baking powder, some salt, some avocado oil, some milk. I strayed from the recipe slightly because I added some pecan nuts and some chocolate chips just to make it extra special. It was so tasty. Now I'm on to making the filling for my 2 quiches. So because I'm short of time, I'm not going to make them separately. I'm going to make both of these fillings gluten and dairy free. So I've mixed the eggs together. Gluten-free quiche is a new recipe on the blog, and I'll put a link in the description box below so you can try it out for yourself. Now I'm making a runny paste with some rice flour and some almond milk, which is just going to make it easier to add the rice flour to the milk and egg mixture. If you add the rice flour directly, then it'll create lumps and won't thicken the mixture properly. I do like to do quiche this way. Making a really eggy custard makes the quiche just feel really rich and delicious. I actually made a mistake making this quiche today. I didn't put anywhere near enough milk in, so make sure you do follow the recipe on the blog and not what I'm doing here, because there was nowhere near enough filling on the quiche, but it was okay. It still tasted good. It was just more like scrambled egg on pastry than an actual quiche. Anyway, follow the recipe and you'll be fine. I love to add some fresh nutmeg to egg mixtures. I just think it really helps bring the flavour out. Some salt, some nutmeg and some pepper, that's all you need to really have a delicious quiche. And look how silky smooth that mixture is now. Delicious. Now it's time to roll out the pastry. So I floured the pastry with rice flour. Make sure you do that. If you're making gluten-free quiche, make sure you use gluten-free flour to flour your surfaces. And you'll see how easy it is to roll out. However, this is the problem with gluten-free pastry. It does not stick together. So I roll it out quite thinly and then I pick up whatever pieces I can pick up and then make a kind of a puzzle in the tin. This is the best way I've found to do it, because if I just press it directly into the tin, the pastry ends up being too thick. This way the pastry stays thin and I can usually make it look okay-ish, even though it's not perfect. With gluten-free cooking, you really have to make some concessions, and one of those is gluten-free pastry is just not going to stick together as well as normal pastry. You can see the difference with this sourdough pastry here that's stuck together really well, and I managed to pick it up in one go and put it onto the pie dish. And now one thing I do like to do, which is maybe a little bit unusual for quiche, is to put mustard on the base of the quiche. This adds extra flavour, I find, and a little bit of spice. It just makes it taste extra special. In the recipe on the blog, I suggest you blind bake the pastry first, and I do think that's a good idea. I didn't have time to do that today, so I just put the mustard on the raw pastry and put the bacon bits and the eggs on the top. However, if you do have time to blind bake it, the result is a lot better. You get a nice crusty bottom of your quiche, a well-baked crust, and the filling has time to bake without burning the pastry, which is really what we're looking for. So do try and blind bake it first if you can. It did work this way, but it would have been better if I'd blind baked it first. Again, all of the instructions for blind baking and all of the different tips and tricks for getting a really good quiche are written down on the blog article, which I will link below. So my oven's starting to look a bit full. I can take the egg muffins out so that I've got space to put the quiches in, and they will cook for about half an hour. Just keep an eye on them. Maybe half an hour won't be quite enough for the pastry and the filling to be cooked through, so you can always pop it back in for another 5 minutes. My husband and my older children absolutely love this granola, and in fact I don't know why I don't make it more often, because it is so quick and easy to make, and I usually have all of the ingredients to hand, so I could whip it up every week with no problem at all. This recipe has been on the blog for a while now, so I'll link it in the description box below, and I also have a video where I show you how to make it in detail, and I'll link that above. Basically, you need oats, almonds, pecans, or any other nuts that you like. I put chia seeds and sunflower seeds in there too, honey, coconut oil, vanilla extract, salt. You melt the honey and the coconut oil together and then mix it into the dry ingredients. Look how easy and simple that is to make. You just spread it out onto a baking tray and bake it for about 30 minutes at 150 degrees Celsius. So I didn't bake it for quite as long because my oven was on hotter than that for the other cakes and snacks. It was on at 180 degrees Celsius, and the granola was probably cooked in about 20 minutes. In fact, I overcooked it a little bit. I left it in there for 25 minutes. I think 20 minutes would have been enough. I've told you before that I have 2 boys with food allergies, and I've recently come across a diet that is supposed to be able to heal those food allergies. So we've decided to give it a go. I didn't think I'd ever be doing such a diet with my children. It's really restrictive, no carbohydrates, no sugar. But on the other hand, I really feel like I need to give them a chance to heal. And this diet makes a lot of sense. It concentrates on removing the bad bacteria that is present in the gut and replacing it with good bacteria from fermented foods, and also lots of gut healing bone broth, which I already make a lot of, so that's not going to be a big change. What is going to be difficult for them is desserts. No sugar, no carbohydrate for desserts and snacks is really difficult. So I'm trying to come up with some recipes that are fun, sweet, yummy, that they can eat, and this is one of them. Basically, I've done a mixture of almond flour, egg whites, honey, some salt and some vanilla. I've pressed that into the bottom of a pie dish, arranged the apples over that, added a drizzle of honey, some cinnamon, and that will cook in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. Keep an eye on it because some apples cook quicker than others. Mine weren't quite cooked because I had to rush out and get the boys from school. It could have done with probably maybe even 10 minutes longer. And with the leftover pastry mixture, I'm making these little macaroons, and that's something I've been making for a very long time, but with sugar. I can link the recipe with sugar down below, but I think I need to make some adjustments to the honey recipe before I can share it with you, but hopefully I'll be sharing it with you soon. If you're interested in finding out more about this diet, it's called the GAPS diet, and I'll put a link to their website down below. Now at this point in the morning, I was rushing like mad, and I didn't think I'd have time to do this last recipe, but I'm so glad I did. It was absolutely delicious. I'm calling these power balls just because I think my boys will probably eat them a lot better if they're called power balls than if I call them date and nut balls. Anyway, they really enjoyed them. There's dates in there, almonds, pecans, a little bit of vanilla, some cinnamon, a little bit of salt, and I drizzled a bit of water in there too, just to help it to come together so that I could form those balls with them. There's no cooking required with this. I just put them in the fridge to firm up a little bit. They were really tasty and gave us lots of energy, some healthy sugar in there. Again, GAPS diet friendly, so I shall be making these again definitely. Well, I can't believe I did it. I made everything that I wanted to make: apple tart, granola, power balls, sourdough quiche, gluten-free quiche, banana bread, egg muffins with bacon bits, and these little macaroons, and that will keep us going all week. Thanks for following along with me today when I spent the morning in the kitchen baking food for the week. Don't forget to like this video, and in the comments let me know what you like to make for snacks for your family. It'd be great to chat with you. And if you want more content like this, don't forget to hit subscribe. I bring out a video every week on homemade food from scratch, allergy-friendly meal ideas, and lots of sourdough. See you next time.